What is going on, everybody? Welcome on into Season 6 of NFL Turf Talk right here on the Faithful Fanatics Network. We're starting off the summer by getting into the NFC North division, one of the best divisions in all of football. We didn't want to start with the AFC South, Scotty. We didn't want to start with, not that the AFC West is terrible, but you get the gist, right? We didn't want to start with the NFC North. We wanted something to get the football juices flowing. Obviously, we had a crazy Hall of Fame game take place last week. Now we get the kickoff of week 1 of the preseason tonight, shortly after this episode is being dropped. Guys, I am one half your host, Dylan Davis. To my left, my faithful co-host, Scotty. We are streaming to you over on the Faithful Fanatics Network on YouTube, as well as the DSM Twitter page. So you can find us at DSM_media. For now, changes coming, as you can see on the screen, but we'll have some fun with it as we continue on here. My man, what is going on? And welcome to Season 6.
Yes, sir. Season 6. We discussed it thoroughly before the show started here. We just could not believe that we are in Season 6 of Turf Talk. Time flies when you're having fun, and that's what we like to do. So it's been fun, and we're just going to keep it going this year, man. This season should be exciting, starting with maybe the most competitive division in football. We'll obviously talk about that throughout this show, but I'm happy to be here with you, man. It's Thursday. We're getting close to the weekend, so it's good times around here. But, well, I said good times. You texted me last night, man, and you said I cannot wait until football is back. I think that had something to do with the lack of entertainment on
Absolutely. It definitely does 100%. But just the thought, man, maybe I'm a weirdo, but like just the thought of it being this close and like just there's nothing better than an NFL Sunday. Now, college football Saturdays and Saturday's king, like we all know this, but that is more of I'm an active type of day, right? I am out at the bars or I'm with friends.
That's a good point.
For NFL Sunday, there's a feeling to it, and maybe it takes me back to my childhood, but I'm not exactly putting 2 and 2 together, but there's just an inner feeling that gets you excited for a full slate of football. And like you said, no better way to kick it off by talking about the NFC North. You have 4 teams, all of which finished over a 500 record last year. The Lions went from first the year before to last this past season with a 9-8 record. Ben Johnson leaves Detroit, takes the Bears head coaching gig. They win the division. We got year 2 of Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams coming up on deck. Micah Parsons will be returning weeks, months. We don't know how long yet into this season, but will be returning to that Packers defense. The Vikings, Kevin O'Connell just named his starting quarterback for the 2026 campaign. It is not J.J. McCarthy. It is former Cardinal Kyler Murray. So some moving parts. We've got some running backs leaving and coming. We got some receivers leaving and coming. But all in all, with this NFC North division, not a ton of overhaul, big name overhaul, so to speak. Nothing really drastic. I mentioned the Kyler Murray move, but nothing overly enticing maybe for most people at the quarterback position. All head coaches are returning from last year. So it is a great division to start off with, man. It's going to be very tough to kind of break down in August and feel how I'm heading into this season.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great point. As we get into this division, I don't have my predictions set yet. I'm going to kind of talk it out throughout this show, and I'm going to decide on this show how I feel that these teams are going to finish. Don't get me wrong, I have an idea, but at the same time, you know, all of these teams, they all have interesting talking points. They all have the ability, whether it's the Lions to bounce back or the Vikings to bounce back or the Green Bay Packers or the Bears to maybe take a step forward with their quarterbacks, their young quarterbacks there. So it is an interesting division. And to your comment about, you know, Sunday being different from Saturday, I just wanted to add into that. Is it kind of like Christmas, where you just know you're going to be planted for the day, right? Yeah. Like you're going to have some decent to good to great food, and you're going to have entertainment all day that's going to lock you into your seat. And that's how I look at football season on NFL Sundays. I will be there. So
it's king, brother. It's king. That's how and this is coming from 2 guys that just acquired LeBron James to their favorite basketball team with expectations to maybe win a Larry O'Brien trophy this year. And football is still going to remain king. But again, to kind of counteract with these divisions, you mentioned you don't have your predictions. I jotted mine down in my notes. We'll see if I stick to them by the end or if I'm adjusting a little bit. But I do agree that it's the hardest division 1 through 4 to rank. You obviously look down into the NFC West, which we'll get to in a few weeks. But you look at those three teams with 12-plus wins, but you can cancel out one of them at the bottom. You can pencil in the Arizona Cardinals. And then, not that I'm getting ahead of myself, to me, that is a 2-team race right now for my money. This division 1 through 4, I don't even know who to put fourth.
I feel
let alone one. So this is the toughest for me range-wise. Yeah, it does. Because I think any of these teams that are going to be ranked fourth will look at you and go, all the fans, are you crazy? Yeah. They all have arguments to make the playoffs.
That's what I was going to say.
Coming last in their division. So let's get into it, man. Which team do you want to kick things off with? Which team entices you the most heading into 2026?
I'll throw 2 to you, and I'll let you decide. I'll throw it back to you.
All right. I feel like we're cheating out of an answer there, but okay.
The Bears and the Lions, they intrigue me the most out of this division for 2 different reasons, I feel like. So which one of those 2 would you like to start with?
All right, let's start in the basement then, because I do think the Lions are very, very interesting. From a betting standpoint, they are the overall favorites to win the NFC North again this year. When you say fall off, they still finished 9-8 last year. Now, that's to Dan Campbell's standards, but they still finished with an above 500 record. They just missed the playoffs and were the overall 1 seed the year prior before losing to the Commanders at home. They are very, very interesting because I think something you said to me before the show stood out, and I'll throw it right back to you, and I'll let you further explain where you're leaning. Are the Detroit Lions in 2026 more like the 2025 Lions, where they are good, but their offense doesn't terrify you like it did in years past? And if we're being honest, in this division, they're probably the weakest defense, maybe second weakest defense with what Chicago's got going on with a little bit of a youth movement.
Yeah.
Or are they more like or are they more of the year prior? And obviously Ben Johnson's departure plays a big point in that, but where do you think the Lions slide on that scale?
Yeah, so before I tell you where I think they'll slide on the scale, I do just want to kind of add on to what you're saying here, because I do think this is kind of that deciding season in a sense for them. And it's not to say that it's Super Bowl or bust, but I do think they need to get to an NFC championship, right? To just prove that they have bounced back from losing Ben Johnson. It's not just last season. Last season was a fall off from our eyes due to losing Ben Johnson. And then you have Ben Johnson stay in the division, go to the Chicago Bears, and lead them to the playoffs, right? And something that you added in there, man, that the Lions are favorited to win the division, which that kind of blows my mind. But I guess that speaks to the respect that the books are operating with for Dan Campbell, for Jared Goff, and this team that they've built, and the consistency that they have built over the last few years. Yes, they missed the playoffs. They still had a record over 500 last year. So giving them the respect that's due. All that being said, man, for my money, at this point in the show right now, I almost want to put the Lions last, man. I know that could sound crazy, but part of it is the Jared Goff shit. I'm not a Jared Goff believer. I'm not in that camp. I'm not in the camp that thinks Jared Goff is a top 10-ish quarterback. I do not believe that. I think he was a product of Ben Johnson. I think Ben Johnson had that offense operating on a very high level. I think when you throw in the running back tandem that they were working with as well, that helps out Jared Goff as well when you have a dominant running game like that. But all that being said, man, I think Dan Campbell is the guy that comes into question this season, right? Because you have to ask yourself, when you lose a guy like Ben Johnson, when the offense struggles, what does Dan Campbell bring to the – it's a conversation they have about Nick Sirianni all the time, right? If he's just the hoorah guy in-house, what does he actually do
Sure.
when his hands are on the offense and it struggles like that, right? So that's where I'm at with Dan Campbell. I feel like this is kind of a perplexing year. This is like the crossroad year for not only the Lions, not Jared Goff, but Dan Campbell specifically. Because if you just get to the playoffs and you lose in the wild card round again, is that success? Is that bounce back? No. So I don't know, man. I'll toss it back to you. I'm kind of, you said in the basement, and I was wondering if that's what you meant, but that's kind of where I'm at with the Lions, man. I don't know. I could see them finishing last in the division, but I understand that could be perceived as disrespectful.
Let me tell you why they will finish last in the division again. They have the worst head coach in the division. You start off, you bring up the Nick Sirianni point. It is a fair point because those two guys were hired at the same time. But we've been talking a lot about guys and players and quarterbacks getting to live off of previous graces. But guys like Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni don't get that grace period, right? They don't get 2024 anymore. It's time to move on. But Dan Campbell, for some reason, man, he's got the attention of everybody, and he'll bite your fucking kneecap off. Like, he is a guy's guy. He will fire you up. He'll put his balls on the table and go for it on fourth down over and over again. They blew their load when they lost to the San Francisco 49ers a few years ago.
I do agree.
You mentioned what's a winning recipe for Detroit. Detroit's window is closed to me. Because outside of winning the Super Bowl, their fans won't accept anything less, and you are furthering yourself from that window. Not only do you have teams like the Rams and the Seahawks and the Eagles and other teams in the NFC that are better, let alone just in your division.
The division, yeah.
You have the worst head coach. I think they had the worst defense. We'll see. I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens in Chicago with some of that youth in the secondary and all. Or up for whatever. And I can make the argument they had the worst quarterback in the division. He's no better than third best.
Yeah.
And I'm not even a Jordan Love guy.
Yeah.
But he's not better than Jordan Love or Caleb Williams. He's not more talented than either of them. And okay, Kyler coming over from Arizona. He had to win the job over from J.J. McCarthy. You want to say you would take Jared Goff over Kyler Murray? I'm not going to argue with you. But the distance between Jared Goff and Kyler Murray will not distance the Lions between any of these teams and overhaul things for
Kyler's. We'll get to the Vikings, but Kyler's dynamic ability, I would prefer over Jared Goff. Like, I don't know. Like, maybe I'm crazy.
I wholeheartedly agreed with what you said about Jared Goff in the beginning. I think Jared Goff is fine. I think Jared Goff is a little bit better than your typical game manager. But there is a reason, guys. Like, remember when he was traded for Matthew Stafford a few years ago? Do you remember that? Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I might be wrong. I might be remembering it wrong. Did LA have to attach picks? Or did the Rams have to attach picks?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the Rams had to attach picks. Yeah. Now,
again, that's for Matthew Stafford, and they go, I'm not debating that. But what I'm saying is the Rams, after going to a Super Bowl with this dude just a year or two prior to the trade, traded their young number 1 overall draft pick quarterback with picks to get an aging quarterback because they saw their window was opening now and didn't trust him. Then he comes here, and yes, you had the Ben Johnson of it all, and their offense was dynamic as fuck. I'm not denying that. It wasn't last year.
Yeah.
And you want to talk talent, right? People, you don't like Jalen Hurts. And I'm not trying to make this a Jalen Hurts thing with everybody we talk about. But Jahmyr Gibbs and Isiah Pacheco. It was Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. The Lions also have one of the best offensive lines in football, one of the best tackles in Penei Sewell.
Right.
Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Right.
Jameson Williams, Sam Laporta.
Yeah. They got a squad.
But he doesn't move the needle at all for me. So I think the Lions will come in last. I think the Lions have the worst head coach. I think you can make the argument they had the worst quarterback, and I think they have the worst defense in all of this division.
Yeah, and to answer your question about the trade, Jared Goff was traded with a 2021 third-round pick and first-round picks in 2022 and 23. So 2 firsts, a third, and Jared Goff for Matthew Stafford, to your point. And what I would ask you, just to kind of tail end off of that and kind of end that Lions segment right there, who would you feel more comfortable moving forward with, Dan Campbell or Jared Goff, if you had to make a choice after this season?
I think you still go with the coach because I just don't think that guy wins you anything. I don't think that Jared Goff wins you. He already has all the talent around. Like, what more do you want to add to the offensive side of the ball for Jared Goff? And when I say they have the worst defense in the NFC North, that does not mean I think the Lions defense is terrible. It's been terrible at times. We remember some of the shootouts they were getting into, but Aiden Hutchinson was down for the year. They were beat up in the secondary. That's not the case. I'm saying fully healthy. They're a fine defense. Yeah. So if you have a fine defense with all that talent, how'd you lose at home to a rookie quarterback 2 years ago the way you did?
Yeah.
What was the one Thanksgiving? Was it against Green Bay where he threw like 4 picks in the game?
I think it was the Texans.
One or the other. But I
could be wrong.
He does nothing for me. He is as middle of the pack as middle of the pack gets. I would keep Dan Campbell just because I think you get a dynamic quarterback in here. Anyone with this roster could find a way to win. The quarterback is what holds it back for me. So that's why the Lions coming in fourth. Now, I don't want to necessarily go in order right now. I don't want to say who's in third. I want to wrap up this division together with standings. I just thought that was a great place to start by putting the Lions in the basement. Let's go back up to the top of the division. The other team you mentioned from last year, the Chicago Bears. Biggest piece of the Chicago Bears offseason is probably a departure. And that's DJ Moore going to play with Josh Allen in Buffalo. And now you have a bunch of young guys in Rome Odunze and Luther Burden and Colston Loveland who have to step up and continue to step up to the plate with a young quarterback and a young head coach into his tenure. I'll start off by saying I am on the Caleb Williams 2026 train. I think you see a kid, and I'm not saying the Bears' weapons are bad. Like, I think Rome Odunze is really good. I think Luther Burden with his speed, I think Luther Burden will be good.
He'll be good, yeah.
You add in Khalif Raymond. I mean, their duo of Swift and Kyle Monunga is fine. But the Bears offensively don't have anything on paper, talent-wise, that snaps at you, that punches you in the face. Ben Johnson punches you in the face with his scheme and his play design. But I think Caleb Williams is one of the quarterbacks that this year that does a lot with a little. I think you see him continue to elevate the Chicago Bears. From what I'm seeing on social media and clips-wise, you're getting slim. We talked about slim Jalen. You're getting slim Caleb and faster Caleb. Like, points of the Chicago Bears can't catch him. You add that arm and that playmaking ability. Because, see, he got away with shit in college at USC, right? Like, remember all the running around and guys couldn't catch him. He gets here, different speed, right? Guys can get to him.
Yeah.
If guys can't get to him like they did last year, and that playmaking ability stays and that arm strength stays, I think you see a very fun Caleb Williams in year 2 with Ben Johnson.
No, I think it's a great point. When you think about the Bears this season, it's going to come down to Caleb Williams and how he performs for this team. And when you're drafted that high in the draft, that's what it's going to come down to at a certain point in your career anyways. So who better to be in it with than Ben Johnson and what he's proven over the last few years that he could win and get to an NFC championship with Jared Goff at quarterback. So just imagine what he can do with Caleb Williams. The big thing for me and why I tend to agree with you, I think it's going to look really good given the young weapons that Caleb Williams is working with. Like you said, they do have talent. It's not to say that, but these aren't top 10 wide receivers, right? None of them are. And you talk about DJ Moore, he wasn't top 10, but he was at least top 20-ish, right? In that range, top 25. And he was a clear wide receiver 1. Now with Rome Odunze, I think he still will be that clear wide receiver 1. but there's a lot of proving to do. But I think Caleb Williams is the guy that's going to lift those guys up. At least that's how it'll look from an optics standpoint. And I think that is a good thing for Caleb Williams. The other thing that I'm looking at with that offense and Ben Johnson is that offensive line that they revamped going into last season. Now you get another season into that. They brought in guys like Garrett Bradbury, who was a longtime Viking at the center position. Darnell Wright came in last year. Joe Tooney came in last year. So this is all second year with Caleb Williams on that offensive line. And we know how big of an issue protection has been in Chicago for Caleb Williams. He's always having to use his scrambling ability. So if they can just get 20% better as an offensive line unit, I think they will look a lot better. And it will only help their run game ability, as you mentioned, with DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monaghan in the backfield, which he brings that physical impact, Swift brings that kind of dynamic, speedy impact. So, yeah, I do like what the Bears got going on, but they do have room to prove themselves as well, especially on the offensive skill set side of things.
Yeah.
But I'm interested to see how the defense turns out, right? You had a lot of turnover there. Kevin Byard, by all means, we were not big fans of him in Philly, but he went to Chicago. He had kind of a bounce back there, right? He was a good leader for that defense. And so you see him exit. You see Jaquan Brisker. They kind of led the way in that safety group. Then you bring in a Kobe Bryant from the Seattle Seahawks on a 3-year deal. That's the Seattle Seahawks defense that took them all the way to a Super Bowl championship. So you bring in a piece from that defense, add it here, and kind of get a leader for those younger guys that you mentioned. They're going to be implementing there in Chicago. So
no, I think they're very interesting because when you talk about 11-6 and winning the division in year one, but with the expectations they carry, there's room for this, right? Like you can make an argument that year 2 Caleb and year 2 Ben Johnson only improves the Bears. But when you start your campaign off together by winning this tough-ass division, winning 11 games, you are now expected to stay up here. You are expected to compete for this division, to win double-digit games again. And that leaves room for disappointment in Chicago as well. So we'll see which way they go. I am a Caleb Williams believer in 2026.
They're third favorites to win the division.
Yeah.
Third in odds, which is interesting.
Yeah, I think the sports books just aren't paying attention to or don't care about last year, I should say, at all. Like, I think they're just reverting back to 2 years ago and, if healthy, this is what these teams should look like. Speaking of the Green Bay Packers, man, I said I'm a Caleb Williams guy. I'm not a Jared Goff guy. This guy falls somewhere in between land for me. Jordan Love falls somewhere in that land in between Jared Goff and Caleb Williams for me.
Oh, gotcha.
You talk about a receiving core that I have mocked in the past, and now one of their former receivers is now one of our own. And I'm hearing great things about Dontavian Wicks. And one of their other former receivers is teamed up with another one of our former receivers in New England, in Romeo Doubs. And they did nothing. I mean, they added Sky Moore, whatever that means to you. But they are rolling forward with Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, and a second-year guy, or whatever Matthew Golden is now, and Tucker Kraft at tight end coming back from injury. Big yak guy, big powerful runner when he gets the ball in his hands. I understand. If I didn't care for Green Bay's skill positions prior to Wicks and Dobbs being moved on from, where do you think my level of confidence is in this group right now? It's low. It's really, really low.
Fair enough.
You get past Josh Jacobs, and Josh Jacobs is a workhorse still. You get past him, Scotty. I don't know. Maybe he's a rookie. Maybe I missed him in the draft. I don't know who the fuck is on their depth chart at the running back position. Marshawn Lloyd, Chris Brooks, and Pierre Strong Jr. So just going off of my own knowledge of what I know about these folks, you have no depth at the running back position. You lack talent and now depth at the wide receiver position. Your tight end's a cool story. Coming back from injury, he fires you up. You lost your backup quarterback who got a starting job, who I'm not even a Malik Willis guy, but you lost him. You bring in Tyrod Taylor. You don't know when Mike is coming back yet. I'm very close to grouping Green Bay with Detroit. And yes, Jordan Love has put up crazy numbers. And yes, Jordan Love has won football games he got to play. I'll be interested to see how much he can overcome with this unit on offense.
It's interesting, man. I think we're on two different pages with the Packers this year, which I feel like we always are. I think maybe it's the Jordan Love thing. It's not
for
that
sure.
I think Jordan Love is a guy. It's not like that. I do respect what he's done with the lack of weapons, if that makes sense.
Sure.
And I guess when I look at the receiving group, like, I do feel you. Like, do not get me wrong. These guys are not like guys for me, but did they lose like that much? You know what I mean? I do get it. Like, Dobbs and Wicks, they were a big part of that passing off. I'm not going to undersell that. They were a big part of it.
I mean, was Romeo Dobbs their best receiver?
It depends what you're looking like. Christian Watson, I feel like, is the most talented.
Was hurt a lot last year, though, wasn't he?
But he was hurt a lot.
Yeah.
He is inconsistent. Is that a fair word to put on him?
I
think he's the most talented.
More
but
upside.
I don't know if he does the most for their team, if that makes sense. I'm looking at Jaden Reed, man. I'm looking at him. He's the guy that has to step up in the absence.
Sure does.
He's that guy. You have Matthew Golden. He is a second-year guy. He's going to have to step up as well. They drafted him fairly high. But I guess I just, I don't know how much of a drop-off it is from, like, Romeo Dobbs and Dontavian Wicks to Christian Watson and Jaden Reed.
No. That's not necessarily my point.
The depth.
My point is you had all of it last year. You lost 2 of it, and you added nothing to already a unit that I did not give a fuck about. There is no one on that unit that you are game planning for. There's no one you have to. Hey. He can't get the ball today. Fuck out of here.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong at all. And Josh Jacobs, I mean, who knows? You never know when his sharp decline is around the corner.
I think he had some off the field stuff happening earlier on this offseason as well.
He's 28, so you getting close to that 30-year-old range. That's when running backs start to fall off. I do feel you. The offense is not blowing me away by any means, but I think where I do pick up some steam with the Packers is on that defensive side of things. Now, I know they traded,
and I think that's what elevates them over Detroit for me.
Okay, yeah, and I think that's fair as well. I think they have the best defense in the division from my eyes and my perspective. I just look at Xavier McKinney, who they brought in last year along with Micah, and Xavier McKinney went over there and led the league in turnovers, I think, for that defense. You got Keyshawn Nixon. They brought in Zaire Franklin, who was just a stud linebacker for the Colts. So he'll get to lead the middle of that defense. They already had Edgerrin Cooper in there. You'll get Micah Parsons back at some point. You got Lucas Van Ness on that edge. Devontae Wyatt has made a name for himself. You picked up Javon Hargrave. So they've got names across the board for me on that defensive side of the ball, which I guess I'm just curious how far that can take them.
Can get you. And
if Jordan Love can just play game manager football, if that makes sense. Now, is that in his DNA, right? We've kind of seen him step down into that role a little bit last year.
What I'll say about Jordan Love is he doesn't throw a lot of interceptions.
In bunches.
But when he does, boy, are they good ones to watch. And they're not at the best times. And they are head scratchers, and they are textbook 101, what not to do at the NFL level when he does them. And that's where I think he gets them into trouble and where he won't be able to elevate a lack of talent offensively to beat teams in the NFC. The NFC is getting stacked.
It is.
The core of the NFC, not just this division, is very difficult. And if you're going to lack talent on offense, you better have a and when the Packers defense is very good. I think I probably agree with you that on paper they have the best defense, especially when Micah is in the game.
Yeah.
But you better have a Houston Texans level of defense if you want to beat the Rams or the Seahawks or the Eagles, or you can make we'll talk about the Cowboys at some point. You talk about the Niners, all these teams. And I just don't think they're there, right? Like they're very good, but they're not great. They're not locked down week to week basis great for me. Just my opinion. Now, we are 30 minutes into this. There's another team to get to.
Yeah.
Instead of getting to that team, I would like to put our divisional predictions together right now.
Yeah.
We had the Lions coming in last. We agree on that.
Yeah.
Okay. I have the Packers coming in third. And I have the Chicago Bears coming in second.
Interesting.
If you've ever wanted a bold take from the boy, it is kicking off season 6 of Turf Talk. I have not seen, there is no evidence to this. I have not seen Kyler Murray line up under center for Kevin O'Connell. I haven't seen none of it. I'm going to give you a bold take that the Minnesota Vikings win the NFC North this year. This is a team that came in third last year with 9 wins. 9 Kevin O'Connell and Brian Flores squeaked out 9 effing wins with a combination of J.J. McCarthy and Carson Wentz at quarterback. There might have even been someone else that I'm forgetting that had to play because both of them were hurt. There really might have. I can't recall the later end of the Minnesota Vikings season or the middle of it, but they won 9 games with that duo. Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and now Juwan Jennings comes over from San Fran. And I'm not some big Juwan Jennings guy.
Yeah. He's good, though. He's solid.
And TJ Hawkinson finally have a guy that can get them the football and who is also a dual threat. I think Kevin O'Connell's offense takes a major step up this year with Kyler Murray. And I'm not trying to I'm really not trying to just talk up Kyler Murray so drastically. Yes, he's the difference in why I think they win the division, but I think the placeholders they've already had there are why. Brian Flores' defense holds teams to like 19 points a game.
Yeah.
Minnesota won 9 games by scoring like 20 or 21 points a game last year. I think there's an argument. And these teams, man, here's what I'll tell you. These teams I don't think the division winner wins 14 games, Scotty. Right. I don't think they go 14-3. I think they beat the piss out of each other. I think they split a lot of these scenarios. And I think Minnesota wins this division probably around what the Bears won it at last year at 11-6, maybe 12-5. That is my bold prediction to start season 6.
I respect it. And, I think to your point, there's not going to be a lot of difference for my money from 1 to 4 in this division. It's going to be about a game or 2 difference across the board from top to bottom, in my opinion. Maybe 2 to 3 games difference if some injuries take place. Ultimately, we have the Bears and the Lions in the same exact spots, 2 and 4. And then I have Packers and Vikings switched basically in reverse. I have the Packers winning the division. I have the Vikings finishing third. I'm going with the defense. I do think the Green Bay Packers defense will be in that top 5 range this season. So I think that is where we may differ a little bit on the Packers. It's not that I, believe so much in Jordan Love or anything like that, or that offensive set of skill positions. Matt LaFleur, I do trust him a little bit to just figure out enough with that offense. But it's interesting, man, as you were talking through, because I do like what the Vikings have, man. Like when you put that on paper, it sounds really nice. And then you add in the Brian Flores-led defense. You got to see it play out first, right? I got to see how Kyler Murray does fit with Justin Jefferson and company, and if he will be able to spread the ball around. I do think it's going to be better than anything they've had in recent years. Looking back at the matchups between the Packers and the Vikings last year, they're just completely like different results in a sense, right? Packers beat the Vikings in November 23-6. I believe that was the Thanksgiving Day game.
Yeah.
And then in January, the Vikings beat the Packers 16-3. So you had 2 basically defensive master classes in reverse fashion in the 2 matchups. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I think who wins the division is ultimately who is able to take care of their in-division opponents, right? That's usually how it goes, but I think even more importantly in this division this year, you have to beat your divisional opponents, especially. So I'm looking at the Packers defense to kind of lead them through the division. But to your point, we'll see how it kind of plays out. If the offenses kind of show up and lead the way, maybe the Vikings do jump ahead of the Packers in that sense. So I'm not completely against you. I think this division is that close, but I'll go with the Packers. And I guess the proven, if you want to call it proven, like you said, there's been a little bit of overturn on this roster. So
right.
We'll see. But
I hear you, man.
It's interesting, man. We're the same on 2 teams. I think we're even the same on 3. Like I do like what you said about the Vikings. Like I do agree.
I do agree with you because you can pick the winner. Like I'm trying to go bold and say the Vikings will somehow steal it. You're going with the Packers, but at the end of the day, what makes this division so hard is I think it ends up more like last year than we like. I think the 4th place team could win 9 games again. Like I think you could get 9-9, 9-8, or 9-8, 10-7, 10-7, 11-6. Like I truly think that's how the NFC North could play out. So there's nothing you could say. There's nothing anyone could pick that I would go, are you out of your mind? Like that team's going to win the division or this team's going to fall off the last place like you have in other divisions. I think it's very even across the board, and I think that's what we get for a lot of fun matchups this upcoming season. That is going to do it for Season 6, Episode 1 of NFL Turf Talk, the NFC North preview. We're dropping it on later tonight before Week 1 of the preseason gets kicked off. Guys, we appreciate you. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure to follow us on Twitter. As of right now, it is still at DSM_media. We are reworking some things around the network, reshaping it. So a lot of fun to be coming your guys' way. We appreciate it and have a